In the heart of ancient Ireland, where forests whispered secrets and mist hugged the hills, it was not the mighty ox nor the swift horse that sustained the people most. Instead, the humble pig, roaming the shadowed woods, held the key to survival, fattened on acorns and forest bounty, shaping the lives of farmers in ways unseen yet vital. Imagine standing in those dense woods, leaves damp beneath your boots, the air thick with the scent of earth and moss, while somewhere beyond the mist, the soft grunts of pigs echo through the trees. This was the lifeblood of medieval Irish villages, a dance of man and animal that shaped both land and livelihood. Life in medieval Ireland was harsh and unpredictable. The forests were dense, dark, and alive with the sounds of creatures that could kill a man as easily as a pig. Wolves roamed in packs, wild dogs prowled the underbrush, and even the weather was a formidable foe. Winters could be long, wet, and bitter, turning the forests into frozen labyrinths where survival was never guaranteed. Yet, for the Irish farmer, the forest was not merely a challenge, it was a provider. It was here that pigs thrived, and through them, families endured. The system that made this possible was known as pannage. Unlike modern livestock kept in pens and barns, medieval pigs were allowed to roam freely, rooting through the forest floor for acorns, beech nuts, roots, and other fallen bounty. These natural foods were rich in fat and nutrients, perfect for fattening pigs for the winter months. Farmers understood the forest intimately. They knew which groves offered the best nuts, which clearings were safest from predators, and how to move pigs from one area to another to ensure the forest could continue to provide year after year. Choosing the right pig was crucial. Medieval Irish pigs were hardy, small but strong, with coarse hair that protected them from rain and frost. They had to be clever, able to navigate roots, rocks, and fallen branches, and quick enough to evade danger. Farmers selected their stock carefully, breeding pigs that could survive the wild while growing fat and healthy. It was a delicate balance of instinct, observation, and centuries of passed-down wisdom. The forest was more than a pantry, it was a partner. Pigs rooting through the soil aerated the ground, helping seeds to sprout and plants to flourish. Farmers, in turn, ensured that pigs were not overfed in any one area, rotating them through different sections of the woods. In autumn, when acorns carpeted the forest floor, pigs were released to feast. In winter, they were guided closer to homes, sometimes provided with supplemental feed from grains or household scraps. This interplay maintained both the health of the forest and the well-being of the animals. Caring for pigs was no easy task. Disease, injury, and parasites were constant threats. Farmers observed their pigs daily, noting any unusual behavior or signs of illness. Herbs from the forest, such as garlic, nettles, or heather, were often used as remedies. Breeding required strategy as well. Boars and sows were selected to produce strong, resilient litters. Piglets were closely monitored, with the strongest allowed to roam freely and the weaker ones raised under careful supervision. The survival of the herd depended on the farmer's skill and vigilance. Pigs were also a measure of wealth and status. A well-fattened pig could be traded, gifted, or used as a centerpiece during feasts and religious celebrations. Losing pigs to wolves, theft, or disease was not only a financial blow but a social one. Every pig represented months of careful attention, a living testament to the farmer's skill and understanding of nature. They were more than animals. They were currency, sustenance, and symbols of prosperity. The yearly cycle dictated both the farmer's work and the pig's growth. Spring brought piglets, born in hidden, sheltered spots within the forest. Farmers would check on the litters, sometimes relocating them to safer areas or supplementing their diet with milk and grains. By summer, the young pigs learned to forage on their own, becoming more independent. Autumn arrived with a bounty of acorns and nuts, the season of pannage, when pigs were allowed to roam and fatten in preparation for winter. Winter was the hardest time, and careful management was necessary to prevent starvation or exposure to the cold. Farmers built temporary shelters, brought pigs closer to home, and ensured that every animal received enough to survive. Predators were a constant danger. Wolves, now extinct in Ireland, posed the greatest threat. Farmers built simple enclosures called pigsties, kept pigs in groups for safety, and sometimes employed hunters to patrol the woods. Despite precautions, losses were inevitable. a stark reminder of the constant struggle between humans and nature. Land and forest access were regulated by law and custom. Rights to graze pigs and forage for acorns were carefully guarded. Stealing pigs, known as sodheach, was a serious offense, punishable by fines or restitution. These laws ensured that the forest remained sustainable and that pigs could continue to thrive. Farmers had to navigate not only the natural world but also the social and legal structures of their communities, balancing survival with diplomacy and respect for tradition. When the pigs reached their peak, the final stage of their care was slaughter. This was done with skill and knowledge, as preserving the meat was critical in an era without refrigeration. Salt, smoke, and curing techniques were employed to keep pork edible through the winter. Sausages, hams, and salted cuts became staples of the medieval Irish diet. Each pig was a carefully nurtured investment, a living store of food and wealth. The role of pigs in medieval Irish life extended beyond survival. They shaped the landscape as their rooting and grazing maintained clearings, pathways, and meadows within the dense forests. They influenced culture, forming a crucial part of feasts, rituals, and social transactions. And they shaped the economy, providing food, trade, and status. Farmers' knowledge of pigs and forests was profound, passed down through generations, often shared as stories, proverbs, and practical advice. Standing in the forest, listening to the soft grunts and snuffles of pigs, one can almost see the rhythm of medieval life unfold. Farmers moved silently among the animals, checking on litters, reinforcing fences, or tossing scraps of grain to the hungriest mouths. Every decision mattered. Every action ensured survival. It was a life of observation, patience, and intimate knowledge of the natural world. The pig, humble and unassuming, was at the heart of this existence, a lifeline, a companion, and a source of pride. Even today, echoes of these practices remain. Modern free-range pig farming and woodland management owe much to the techniques developed by medieval farmers. The forests may have changed, but the story of humans and pigs living in harmony with nature continues to inspire. It reminds us that survival has always depended on ingenuity, adaptability, and a deep respect for the land. Through understanding medieval Irish pig farming, we glimpse a world where every decision was critical, where knowledge was earned through experience, and where survival depended on both human skill and the generosity of the forest. Pigs were not just animals, they were symbols of resilience, economy, and human ingenuity. They shaped the landscape, sustained families, and connected communities, leaving a legacy that whispers through the Irish woods to this very day. The forest, with its shadows and light, its sounds and secrets, was more than a backdrop. It was a partner in survival. And within that partnership, pigs and farmers thrived together, teaching us that even in the wildest places, life could flourish when humans learned to work with nature rather than against it.